Yesterday's video was obviously filmed a little while ago given the length of my hair, but as promised, for day 16 of this chilling challenge, I'll be looking at Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas with a feminist perspective on her character. There are some issues with whether or not The Nightmare Before Christmas is a feminist movie. While we have the interesting and round character of Sally, she's the only mildly interesting female character besides Shock. Looking at just the main characters, and not counting Zero because he's a dog, we have 7 male characters and 2 female. And looking at the entirety of the movie, there are over 30 male characters and 10 female characters, some of which are pretty iffy. For example, we have an ambiguously gendered swamp character who, according to the credits, has the feminine coded name Undersea Gal, which we never hear in the movie. That kind of feels like cheating. And there's no reason this character needed to be female. Now that I think about it, they could have easily been gender non-binary. This movie does not pass the Bechdel test, and while not the pinnacle of feminist media gauges, it does do good work for showing us the female representation gap in media. Does Burton not realize that literally everybody dies? Or could he not think of a female role besides mother, wife, and love interest? Oh, and Mischievous Child. I love this movie, and I didn't realize how male-dominated the cast was until I really started looking at it. And maybe that disproves everything. Since I didn't notice it as a kid, maybe it doesn't matter. But studies show that showing these kind of male-to-female ratios in media takes a toll rather than a direct punch. Now, looking at Sally specifically, let's break down some of the things that we know about her. For most of the film, Sally's main goal is to go out into the world and exist as her own person. Wait, did I hear that right? Now that is a cool and feminist motive. She makes a few attempts to escape her father figure slash inventor slash master, Dr. Finkelstein, and she's often successful. I mean, she does eventually break out completely and leave for good. But after Sally overhears Jack's lament in the graveyard, which occurs about 10 minutes into the film, it's difficult to see where her desire to escape Finkelstein begins and her desire to be with Jack ends. And while women can be feminists while falling in love with or pursuing a man in real life, showing these kinds of characters in film can be problematic, as women often only exist in media to serve as a romantic interest to a male character. And there are several examples of these two goals intertwining. Does Sally poison Dr. Finkelstein because she wants to go to the town meeting, or because she wants to see Jack again? Does Sally finally escape Dr. Finkelstein's because she wants to be free, or because she wants to be with Jack? While Sally's conversation with Finkelstein at the beginning of the movie implies that she's made escape attempts before, does that mean she was also motivated by her feelings for Jack? In a way, this sounds a lot like Ariel, a character whose motivations to see the world existed before the introduction of the love interest, but it is what spurs them to take that final step. There is a main difference though. Ariel is undoubtedly the main character, while Eric is the love interest, whereas Jack is the main character of The Nightmare Before Christmas, and Sally is his love interest. And thus, we can't be entirely sure of Sally's goals and motivations because she only exists in the story because it's Jack's story. Sally is a homemaker. That seems to be the reason Finkelstein created her, so that she can cook for him, sew for him, and keep him company. These kinds of activities are typically associated with femininity and labeled as oppressive and wrong by people I like to call 90s feminists. There was this movement in the 90s and early 2000s that tried to establish equality by declaring femininity as bad. The core idea being that for women to be true feminists, they had to act like men. There's a really great book about this phenomenon called Female Chauvinist Pigs by Ariel Levy if you're interested in reading more about it. And while I'm not ignoring the oppressive and bad history where women were expected to do housework and nothing else for a really long time, what does Sally do with these skills? Whenever Sally wants to get out of the house, she uses her skills as a cook to poison Dr. Finkelstein. Poison. Poison. It's one of those words that if you say it enough times in a row, it sounds weird. She's also clever enough that she can trick him into falling for it over and over again. When Dr. Finkelstein is trying to drag her away at the end of This Is Halloween, she unthreads her arm so that she can get away from him. When she makes her final escape by jumping out of a window and she breaks every limb off of her body, she literally sews herself back together. Poisoning, physical altercations, jumping from windows, these are all things that are rather aggressive, and they're usually expected of male characters. But Sally is usually only aggressive in private. When she's in public, she's kind and compassionate and warm, especially towards Jack. something women are kind of expected to do. One of the first things Sally does when she jumps out of the window is go to Jack's and give him this horrific little gift basket she made him. And then she sleeps outside his house, which is a little weird. There's a super cool moment where instead of standing around to watch Jack royally screw up Christmas, she decides that it's time to get down to business. To defeat the Huns. Oogie boogie, same difference. So she goes and tries to rescue Sandy Claus, and she almost does it too. She's definitely capable, and a few more seconds and she would have succeeded. It was just bad timing. She does have to pull what my family calls a Jasmine to accomplish this though, and that's not great. Not because women aren't allowed to use their sexuality to manipulate male chauvinist pigs, but because it's shown a lot. Again. Sally is also very independent. She's the only one in Halloween Town not to get caught up in the Christmas craze. She's the one that tries to go and rescue Sandy Claus. She's the one who takes initiative in escaping Dr. Finkelstein. And all of these things are things she does by herself, without the help of others. On the one hand, good for you, not waiting to be rescued. You are independent and strong. That's awesome. But women are also encouraged to suffer quietly on a variety of issues, whether it's asking for a pay raise or reporting sexual assault. And this silence is seen as noble and strong. But the princess will get more into that tomorrow. Overall, I would say that Sally is half and half as feminist characters go. While many of her actions are subversive and defy gender norms in an interesting way, she also does some things that rely on the tired trope of the passive female love interest. Actually, much like Ginny Weasley, Sally is a character that is much more interesting and deep than the current story allows her to be. Much like the town she lives in that twists what is good and what is bad with a bit of macabre, she is a kind and soft character who is also aggressive, who uses a traditionally feminine activity to literally stitch her dismembered body parts back onto herself. And while I think that her crush on Jack is well done, I think that the film wanted her to stay in this constrictive love interest box, despite the fact that they wrote a really interesting and round character. Thank you all for watching. Like this video if you think Sally is a badass, comment below with your favorite Nightmare Before Christmas song, and subscribe to follow the rest of this chilling challenge. The princess will see you tomorrow.